पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We saw what happens to the people who are solely focused on Swarga. After enjoying all the realms of Swarga, when the punya is gone, they also have to what? Say bye-bye to Swarga and say hello to the world of mortals, world of mortality rather, a world, a life characterized by number of small deaths all the time and endings. The endings become scary because the endings are because one doesn't know the Atma, the endings are seen as final. The dropping of the body seen as final. Something happening to the mind seen as final. Everything is seen as final. I think they put some heat on. It's very hot. Can we turn it off? Yeah. Yeah. It's very hot. Yes. So everything is seen as final, and then when is seen as final, what happens is that there is a panic throughout. And that panic is the prasada, if we can call it that, of Atma Ajnanam. And so therefore, since there is panic about endings, the desire for Swarga is justified. Why? Because let me make some arakshanam. Arakshan means what? Reservation. In the afterlife, because this life is fraught with so much fear, so many endings, so many problems, so let me just do it so that my next life is better. So some people perform a lot of yajnas, homas and pujas to get a better next life, and some people want moksha. What they think is moksha is what? Going and staying in Swarga. They don't know that Swarga also temporary visa. No green card in Swarga. Wait, what if I marry a Gandharva? What if I marry Rambha Urvashi? They are also on temporary visa. So if you marry them, what will happen? Both of you are on temporary visa. You cannot reserve a place of permanence in Swarga because it's not permanent. It's an impermanent place. And because it's an impermanent place, what will happen? You will have to come back. What has taken you there is your punya, and then punya frittered away, spent away, you come back. We saw that. And then we also saw that people who worship devatas from not, ananya bhava, but anya bhava. This Bhagavan is separate from me. They also worship Bhagavan alone, but they do it from a place of ignorance. Whereas, who are the jnanis and jnani wannabes? Wannabe jnanis and jnanis, jignasus and jnanis, what do? Ananyaha. They are ananyaha. They are not separate from me, Bhagavan says. And there's a big discussion in the Shankara Bhashya, like how can Bhagavan say that only these people are non-separate? What about the other people? If supposing somebody doesn't know Atma Jnanam, are they separate from Bhagavan? The answer is, nobody is separate from Bhagavan. These people are on the way to know it, or they already know it, and the others do not know it. Simple. So the very famous verse, Ananyaha chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. The last quarter of this verse has been appropriated by the Life Insurance Corporation of India. Yeah, which has as its motto this Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Very compelling motto. And they have for the logo, they have a lamp with 2 hands protecting the lamp. So the lamp is supposedly our future, and then the 2 hands protecting is what? Them. They are going to take care of our yoga and take care of our kshema. Who? LIC. Okay. So, but here Bhagavan says, this yoga kshema pursuits, the one who is only pursuing yoga kshema, small, finite things, how to protect myself, how to gain what I want, how to protect what I have, how to get rid of what I don't want. All these things when I do, then so much energy goes. Because this is the whole crux of one's life. When will I get what I want? I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want it, I want it, I want it. From day to night, one is obsessed. When will I have this? When will I get this? Okay, you got it. Are you happy? Are you kidding? This is so expensive. Now I have to buy insurance to protect it. So then there is a worry about protecting it. There is a fear that it will go away. Chauraharyam, meaning it will be taken away by thieves. Or it will disintegrate because of water damage, fire damage. All these things will make everything disintegrate. This is also there. And then what else? Then in this wanting something and wanting to protect what one has gained, this yoga kshema includes 2 other pursuits as well. What is that? Getting rid of what I don't want and I have somehow acquired. How did you acquire? Don't ask me. Like an illness. I somehow acquired this illness. I don't know how. Now I want to get rid of it. And until I get rid of it, I will not be at peace. This is also included in yoga. And also included in kshema is keeping at bay things I don't want. Death, disease. Diseases, many diseases I have, but many I don't have. So those that I don't have, I want to keep at bay. And so like this, there is a problem here. And what is the problem? The problem is that these 4 pursuits, not dharma, artha, kama, moksha, these 4, this yoga kshema, take up all the energy. And the person is exhausted, day by day, exhausted, because you have to fight with others to get what you want, because there are many other people also who want what you want. How tiring it is. It's like after that, what is that? That Thursday festival, Thanksgiving. And And then Thanksgiving is okay. And then the next day, what happens? Yeah. So after the Thanksgiving, the next day, 4 o'clock. Nobody in America wakes up at 4 o'clock. Yeah. But for this sale, Brahma Muhurtam, everybody is up. Brahma Vela, everybody is up. Not only up, lining the shops. The shop will open at 4:30 or shop will open at 5 o'clock. They have lined the shops up. And then they rush. There's a stampede. They push each other and rush. And then everything will be, I haven't gone, okay? I'm just imagining, and I've seen a video of this. People pulling things from each other's, like vultures feeding off a carcass. That's how it is. That's the force. And everybody wants a piece of this. Everybody wants. So then, whatever I want, my Yogakshema is not uniquely mine. It belongs to at least 1 million other people. And so like this, to fulfill the Yogakshemas, to keep at bay what I don't want, all these things, I have to compete with all the people in the universe. And what is not discussed here, but we have to think about it, is that the pursuit of Yogakshema creates papa. Definitely. Because somebody else wanted what I wrested from their hands. Adharma I have done. They wanted, let's say it's a t-shirt. They wanted that t-shirt badly. Oh, who cares about I wanted it even more badly. Doesn't matter that you wanted it badly. The fact here is, what did you do? You ripped it from their hands. You also knew that they had it first. No, we had it at the same time. That's a story you're telling yourself. You also knew they had it first. You wrested it out of their hands, and then you feel good wearing the t-shirt. But then what happens? Papa karma is produced, and then it goes inside the Agami karma suitcase. When you are born, you have 3 suitcases. 2 suitcases are with you, and 1 suitcase is somewhere called Sanchita karma. It's not even a suitcase, it's too big to fit in any suitcase. Sanchita karma. 1 lifetime as a human being you have so much karma, infinite amounts of karma. Then you come with 1 suitcase that is very, 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 very full. What is that? All the karmas that you need to use up, exhaust in this lifetime. So when the baby is born, that suitcase is really full. And it has a combination lock. Oh, what's the number? Only Chitragupta knows. Bhagavan, as the giver of karma phala, is Chitragupta. Only Chitragupta knows. Nobody else knows. And you don't worry about how to open the suitcase. It will open by itself. And when it is open, you quickly take a peek. It has 2 compartments. Oh, shirts and pants? No, Papa and Punya. You can't say, this one is in a grey area. Why? Why is it in a grey area? Again, to take Pujya Swamiji's story, a mosquito started to bite. And what did I do? Made chutney out of it. I can't then say, I donated blood to a pregnant mosquito. Only pregnant mosquitoes bite. Okay? And so, otherwise they live on algae and tree sap, etc. So, you cannot say, okay, I shouldn't have given it moksha. Agreed. But I donated blood before it died. So it should be little bit of punya, little bit of papa. What is it? Papa. So like these small papas, big papas, all of them are accumulating. The more I am into this small Yogakshema life, the more papas are there. No, but I am doing lot of good actions also. Good actions also are what? Cause for rebirth. For Jigyasu, even the good actions are cause for rebirth. Yeah, please don't stop supporting the causes, Chhatralayas and all. What are you doing? You don't say, oh, I don't need to give charity because I don't want to come back. Yeah, we are not at that stage yet. Okay? So then, for a jignasu, the Yogakshema gives binding karma because one is bonded to Yogakshema pursuits, and then therefore one is not free. So therefore, give the Yogakshema to who? Bhagavan. Give it to Bhagavan. That is Bhagavan's portfolio. You don't snatch Bhagavan's portfolio from Bhagavan. So you just do what you have to do. You pray for Antahkarana Shuddhi. You do all the work that you have to do, not for the results of action, but for Antahkarana Shuddhi, and you let the results be, let it come. But that we don't know how to do. And so, continuing, we will see that that the very good reason to do this is in the 24th verse. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha na tu mam abhijananti tatvenataschavanti te yanti devavrata devan pitrunyanti pitruvrataha bhutani yanti bhutejyaha yanti madhyajinopi mam. So, I am the recipient of all prayers as Ishvara. So, Ishvara, which is, without, not Ishta Devata we are talking of, but Ishvara. Ishvara as the whole, as free, as the Jagat Karanam Brahma. So, I am the recipient of all prayers. I am the recipient of all sacrifices. I am the recipient of all tapas. He is going to say that. Whatever you offer, give it to me. I am the recipient of everything. This people do not know. That's why Chyavanti means they fall. They fall from what? From gaining Antahkarana Shuddhi. Adi Shankara supplies. Because here it's not written what they fall from. Chyu, to fall. Chyavanti, they fall. What do they fall from? They fall from gaining, they fall short. This is a good way to say it. They fall short of gaining Antahkarana Shuddhi. Why? They did not pray for it. And they did not recognize me as the recipient of all yajnas. So who did they think was receiving their yajnas? They just had these are the people who have a compartmentalized view. This yajna is for gaining money. That's all it is. Okay, yes, you have to worship Lakshmi along the way. It is Sri Sukta Yajna. And this is what it is. Okay, fine, no problem. But it is not looking at what is this Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a manifestation of Bhagavan, they don't know. They think Lakshmi in her little corner, Saraswati in her little corner. And then, there are obstacles. And then children's exams are coming. So, obstacles must not be there. All the children must pass their exams. Therefore what? Ganesha. Like this. Oh, peace of mind needed. Shiva. Oh, my family should have wonderful welfare all the time. Vishnu. So this compartmentalization makes it seem like like going out for chai with somebody. That's all it is. Today I'm having tea with this friend and tomorrow with that friend. When I'm with this friend, I'm not thinking of anything else. I'm just only with this friend. And then what do I want from this friend? Some companionship, something that he or she gives me. And then I go on to the next one. And the next one gives me peace of mind. And then the third one is very reassuring. The fourth one is encouraging. Like this. This is how it is. And people do this. That's why people, they say Mondays we have to worship. Who do we have to worship on Mondays? Shiva. Tuesdays, who do we worship? Ganesha, Hanuman, what? No, Wednesday is Ganesha, I think. Tuesday, something, Hanuman. Hanuman. And then Wednesday, Ganesha. Thursday, Guru. And then Friday, Lakshmi. Saturday, also Hanuman. Why does he get 2 days in a week? What has he done? So, and then Sunday, yeah. Don't say Hanuman for every day. Okay? Yeah. So like this. So people who know, they will know who to worship, what colors to wear. Astrologers are very good with this. So they will wear colors matching the days. Yeah. They are dressed like Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti dresses according to the correct colors of the particular days. Very nice. So like this, these are the people who have a kind of like, Shiva doesn't mean Bhagavan for them. Shiva means somebody who is going to take away something that I don't want. Lakshmi going to give me money. And then, okay, Friday finished, puja finished, then I don't even look at her till the next Friday. So it is this kind of a compartmentalized connection where I am not aware of the whole. And so here, such people, they fall. Chavanti. Fall means what? Fall short. Fall short of gaining antahkarana shuddhi, even though they are praying, even though they are worshipping. What is their focus? Yoga kshema. So they don't understand. Let us see the verse for the meaning. So, aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta. So, whether the yajna is done on a Monday for Shiva or Tuesday for Hanumanji, whatever it is, then aham eva sarva yajnanam bhokta. I am the recipient. Bhokta here is recipient. Recipient of the yajna. I am the Prabhu. I am the one that is the truth of all devatas. This they don't know, natumam abhijananti. They don't know my nature. Why? Because they are ignorant. Tattvena chyavant ataha, therefore tattvena, from the reality of themselves as non-separate from me. That is the tattva. Tattvena te chavanti ataha, therefore they fall from the ever knowing the reality. Why? Because there is no antahkarana shuddhi, there is no pursuit of Vedanta. That's why. And then what happens to these compartmentalized worshippers is given in the verse number 25. Yanti devavrata devan pitrunyanti pitruvrataha bhutani yanti bhutejyaha yanti madhyajinopi mam. So devavrataha means committed to. Those who are committed to small devatas means small doesn't mean in size. See, you can worship Ganesha as Param Brahma, no problem. Or you can worship Ganesha as an exalted spirit that is going to remove your obstacles. That's the difference. You can worship Lakshmi as the truth of the whole universe. Or you can worship Lakshmi as what? Somebody who is going to make my bank balance a little bit high. That is what is being talked about here. So these Devavratas means these people committed to small acts of worship here and there based on Yoga Kshema pursuits will go to those Devas. Go to them means what? That's all they know. That's all they can relate to. And so small favors they gain, and then what happens is that they just that's all they can get. They can just get small favors. Why? Because they only ask for small things. They don't ask for big things. Big things being antahkarana shuddhi. Big things being the focus to study Vedanta. Big things being let me know the truth of myself is you. That is the big thing. They don't ask for that. Deva vrataha devanyanti. So they go to these devas. After death, they may go to Devaloka. We have already seen what that Devaloka is like. And then Pitranyanti Pitravrataha. Some people only worship ancestors. You go to Africa, ancestor worship galore. In all the tribal indigenous areas, ancestor worship. Here also in India, we are also big on ancestor worship. So, ancestor worship is very big in certain cultures, and then it is believed that the ancestors, again, not people who have been serial killers and the like, dharmic ancestors. So people, ordinary ancestors who have raised a family and been a blessing presence in their life to their family, and they have passed away. So those ancestors, it is believed, they go to a nice, comfortable retirement home in the sky called Pitraloka. Pitraloka. The house of the mains. And this is told to us in the Veda. And we have a famous ancestor, Aryama. Aryaman is a famous ancestor, and so like Aryama, etc. So these are all there, and the people who do puja to the Pitras go to Pitraloka. And then there are some other funny people. What do? Wake up at 2 o'clock and go to the funeral grounds. Why do they go to the funeral grounds? Why? To take a walk? No. Why do they go to funeral grounds? To invoke departed spirits. Why? Because the departed spirits are feeling, itchy. Yeah, they are bored. They can't do much, and they haven't gone where they need to go. They are not in Pitraloka, they are not in Devaloka. They are hanging around because somehow there's some disconnect, some desires were not fulfilled. This is the belief. And so, whether it's true or not, nobody knows. But this is the belief. And so what are they doing? They are there. They also want to experience certain things, but they don't have the body to experience. But at the same time, they are a little more pervasive than the human being. And so what do? They can be easily harnessed. The energy of the spirits, departed, disembodied beings, is harnessed for what? Yoga Kshema pursuits. These departed beings are harnessed for Yoga Kshema pursuits, and then what happens afterwards? And then after these spirit worshippers die, where do they go? To the realm of the bhoots. They are there with all the disembodied beings. In other words, it's just a kind of a general logic that whatever you desire, you go to that. Whatever you desire, you become. And then, yanti madhyajinopi mam. In the same vein, the one who says, I really want Bhagavan, I want to understand who this Bhagavan is, not to use Bhagavan to get all my wants met, but to see Bhagavan as the truth of me. Bhagavan for me is an end, not a means to an end. Then they get me as the truth of themselves. Not much else to say about that. Very interesting observation. Then the next one. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachhati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Yeah. So, it doesn't, how to worship Bhagavan, why to worship Bhagavan, since a lot of discussion on bhakti is there, this also is being talked about. How to worship Bhagavan? What should I do to worship Bhagavan? And one may think, I cannot afford a big yajna. I cannot afford to feed the sadhus and give sadhu bhandara, feast for the sadhus. I cannot do all these things. So Bhagavan says, it's not the material or the expenditure, it's the thought that counts. Patram, a leaf. Pushpam, a flower. Phalam, a piece of fruit. Toyam, if none of these are available, some water. Yaha me mam bhaktya prayachati. Whoever offers this with devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tadaham bhakti upahritam. That offering which is done with so much love and devotion, ashnami. Ashnami means I partake, I accept, I receive the offerings no matter how lowly the offering, I receive it with gladness so long as the person offering is a prayatatma. What is prayatatma? Who is making the right effort. Sincere person. Who is making the correct effort, the right effort, sincere person is called prayatatma. So, sincere person means what? Heart is full of devotion. Then of course, this is a very famous verse. Everybody quotes. Why? Because you can be conjuice and still get Bhagavan's grace. You can be really miserly and still get Bhagavan's grace. Everybody quotes it. Patram pushpam phalam toyam, everywhere. Famous verse. This is why it is famous, alas. Now, the question is this. Are we Vedantins or not? Yes. Is the truth of myself Bhagavan or not? Yes. Then why should I worship? Whom am I worshipping? Am I worshipping myself? Am I doing arati to myself? What am I doing? There is a lot of confusion. To this, we have to ask the people who ask this, we have to say, do you know that you are non-separate from Bhagavan? And we are hoping they'll be honest. What will they say? No. Then better worship. That's all there is to say. Better worship. If you know, yes, you don't have to worship. If you don't know, and you are in the process of knowing, better worship. But why should I worship? Because there are many obstacles between the Shravanam. Yeah. Between the Shastra and the Shravanam, there are many slips. Anything can happen. We see this all the time. People apply for 3 months course. They pay the money also. They are ready to come. Suddenly last minute in Rishikesh. Suddenly last minute something happens. They have to withdraw. Or they come and in 1 week something happens and then they go back. Not enough grace. Not enough punya, that's what it is. Some obstacle has come in the way. So therefore, see the papa that we have done in so many lifetimes, how will that be warded off? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yobe bhaktya prayachati. Every action, has 2 kinds of results. Drishta phalam, immediate result, like after doing yajna, big homa, what is the immediate result? Exhaustion. Oh, I had to work so hard. I had to get so many things. What is the adrishta? Lots of punya. Likewise, when you meditate, what is the drishta phalam? What is the immediate result of meditation? Yeah, peace, calmness. Why it took so long to tell, I don't know. So, the immediate drishta phalam is calmness. And then tranquility. And adrishta is a little bit of punya. Little bit of punya you get, and that is adrishta. And this is adrishta phalam. So drishta phala, adrishta is there all the time. Drishta phala you can experience and then it goes away. Adrishta is kept at bay and released later on at a time that is suitable for Bhagavan. Oh, but I am not free, I am inconvenient. It is inconvenient at that time. Who asked you? Yeah. Did anybody ask you? No. This is not a package you receive and then you put one note on the thing, please deliver between 4 and 6. That's not how it works. That's not at all how it works. It comes not on your timing, on Bhagavan's timing. Adrishta comes. Adrishta includes good adrishta and bad adrishta. Adrishta is the invisible karma, both punya and papa is included in this. So now, that adrishta in the form of papa, whose karma is it? My own karma. My own karma, for which the results of which are held in abeyance, they can come at the most inconvenient time and take me away from the teaching, take me away from the knowledge. And therefore I have to be prayerful. What is prayer? Other than creating new adrishta to combat and to inoculate myself from that adrishta, I create new adrishta, for which the heart must be in the right place. The ingredients of prayer are not dhupa, deepa, naivedya. The ingredients of prayer are bhakti, shraddha and prema. That's what it is. Devotion, love, these are the ingredients. Sincerity. So that's why whatever you offer is inconsequential. It doesn't matter. Because even if you give Bhagavan a big mound of laddus, it's as good for him or her as patram pushpam phalam toyam. It's not a big deal. It's as good as that alone. And so therefore, therefore it is said that the heart must be in the right place. And I'm not praying, so that's the first one. I'm praying for warding off of bad karma from previous and this lives, so that I can pursue Bhagavan as the truth of myself. I'm praying for antahkarana shuddhi. Therefore, the need for devotion. It's exactly like a flu vaccine. If you do it one time, it's not enough. You have to keep getting next year's booster, the next year's booster. How many COVID vaccines? My God. Yeah. And these COVID vaccines, it came in the news that one person had 276 COVID vaccines just to see what will happen. Some people have a lot of time. And how did you do this? I went to every country in Europe. And then each place they didn't ask if you had it in here or there. So in most countries in Europe he went and had one shot. Then he went to all the other places. He went to Canada, he went to United States, he went to Mexico, he went to India, he went everywhere. And then got what? 200 something vaccines. And then what? Then the scientists are very interested in studying his blood and studying his body to find out what makes him tick. How is he even alive after this? So, this inoculating ourselves repeatedly, this is what is prayer. Inoculating ourselves from ourselves alone. It's not Bhagavan's karma, it's my own karma, which I had done by abusing my free will in the past life. There is nothing deterministic about this. And so because of that, what do? I can pray with a heart. The heartfelt prayer is the best prayer, not something that not something, it doesn't have to be full of riches. That's why we have the story of Krishna and Kuchela, Sudama. They were friends in the Gurukulam. Sudama dirt poor, Krishna king, and then after that they went their separate ways. And Sudama had 27 children, all of them growing in poverty. They barely had clothes on their backs. Some of them must have been triplets or quadruplets. That's what I'm imagining. Anyhow, the wife kept telling him, Krishna is your friend. Go to Dwaraka and go and ask him for help. Who else will you ask for help? Sudama felt very ashamed. He said, I can't do that. He was my friend. He was my best friend. I can't do that. I can't just go and ask him things. And I'll go see him. But he had made up his mind, no matter what his wife tells him and pushes him, he's not going to ask. And then he says, I can't go empty-handed. Krishna is, my friend. Okay, we don't have much, but what does he like? He likes beaten rice, poha. So she packs 3 handfuls of poha in a rag and ties it up with a piece of string, which he puts in his pocket. 3 handfuls is what? This much. And then he goes to Krishna's palace. Krishna worships him because he's a Brahmana. And there are all rules how to receive a Brahmana. Washes his feet and then brings him to the palace. They enjoy a wonderful time. And then looking at the palace, looking at Krishna, looking at all the jewels. The walls are even studded with precious gems. He said, I'm not going to give this poha. I'm very ashamed. And it may even have a few pebbles in it. Sometimes they're not cleaned it properly. It'll have something. And God forbid, I'm not going to give this to him. But Krishna knows, because Krishna is Bhagavan. He says, what do you have in your pocket? Nothing. He says, oh, come on. And he puts his hand in the pocket and takes it out. Oh, my favorite, poha. No, don't eat. It's okay. No, I'm going to eat. And he takes 1 mouthful. He takes the 2nd mouthful. He's about to take the 3rd mouthful. Rukmini, the Shakti of Krishna, says no more, enough. Why does she say that? We'll see soon. Then he's so happy spending time with Krishna, he just goes back without even asking him for help. Then when he goes back to his village, he can't even recognize his village. It has indoor plumbing now, and it has all kinds of things. It has streets with numbers and names on them. And all, it looks beautiful. It doesn't look like that shabby little hamlet he left behind. And he's like, I'm in the wrong place. Maybe the bullock cart dropped me off at the wrong place. Then his wife and children come to greet him, and they are all dressed in finery. He doesn't even recognize them at all. His wife gives him a hug. He says, shameless woman, what's wrong with you? Get away from me. I'm your wife. What? Really? Why are you dressed like this? See, you went to Krishna. Krishna has transformed our lives. Our house is a bungalow, and you are basically the king of this whole area. And see, with 2 morsels of Bhagavan, Ashnati, he says, Ashnami, he literally eats, He eats the offerings, so to speak. Eats means receives, partakes. Receives means what? Acknowledges your prayer. And then that very acknowledgement is an expression of grace, and that grace comes overflowing. That's why Rukmini stops him from having the last morsel, because had he done so, then it would have changed the balance of the universe. Maybe Sudama would have to become the king of the universe, for which he was not ready, or so many things. It would have changed the balance. She says, enough. So like this, whatever is given from a heart, it's not about rich, poor, it's not about what is the object of offering, but it is all about how the offering is made. And so there is something beautiful about this offering being received and acknowledged, and in this receipt, then that grace overflows. But isn't this all Dvaita? Yes, it is Dvaita. Then why are we studying? We are Advaitins. Do you know that? No. Okay, keep quiet. That's all. This is in fact the last frontier of duality. It is through understanding the relationship between oneself and Bhagavan that one grows to see Bhagavan as oneself. This Ishvara cannot be bypassed. Accounts between oneself and Ishvara have to be settled. The settling of the accounts is very, very, very important. Settling of the accounts means overcoming my own ragadveshas where Bhagavan is concerned. And so for a person who worships in this manner, I never refuse these offerings. And the very act of receiving and acknowledging these offerings creates for them a conducive situation for gaining moksha. That is what Bhagavan says. Very beautiful verse. And then in the same spirit, verse number 27, Yat karoshi yadashnasi Yat juhoshi dadasi yat Yat tapasyasi kaunteya Tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, yat karoshi, all the things that you do, not only just worship, but any laukika karma, worldly actions that you do, yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, ashnasi means what? Whatever you eat. Yad juhoshi, whatever you offer. Dadasi chayat, whatever you give in charity, etc. Tat yat tapasyasi, any kind of religious discipline you have, yoga, etc. Tat kurushva madarpanam. Offer it, give it all as an offering to me. So how do I offer this to Bhagavan? Do I have to remember, oh Bhagavan, Bhagavan, and then eat? Yes. Basically that's what it means. Because it doesn't come naturally, it has to come deliberately. First I have to cultivate this deliberately. That's why in the Hindu Dharma we pray at the drop of a hat. There is a prayer as soon as you wake up, there is a prayer before going to sleep, there is a prayer before bath. As you are bathing, there is a prayer before working, there is a prayer all the time. That's how one progresses from a person who prays to a prayerful person. In the first instance, the person who prays, for that person, prayer is an act. For the prayerful person is the one for whom every act is prayer. So the one for whose attitude is prayerful with regard to every action. Every act is a prayer for whom is a prayerful person. Whereas a person who prays, prayer is a discrete act. So that is not there here. And so yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, whatever you do, and each time you eat, and when you eat you really forget. Because even though 3 hours ago we've had something, we still feel, oh my God, I have to fall on this food. And so we forget to mentally even offer it as just an acknowledgement that all of this has come from you. And then yat juhoshi, whatever you offer in the yajna like ghee and other offerings. Know that I am the recipient of these offerings. Tat kurushva madarpanam. Don't forget to do this, because this is a sure way of growing. Otherwise what happens? The ahankara is waiting to establish and take away, run with the kartrutvam. It's me, 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 me. Then you say it's not me. It is Bhagavan. It's not me at all. So you don't keep saying me, 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 and then you sublate yourself You sublate the ego, you subserve the ahankara, and so what happens as a result? The ahankara remains in check, kartritva buddhi goes away, and that is what is talked about in the next verse. Let us chant that. Shubha shubha bhalairevam मोक्ष्यसे कर्म बंधनैः संन्यास योग युक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि. This is an inoculation, this is a protection against karma bandhana. Karma bandhana is the bondage created by karma. What is the bondage created? How is bondage created by karma? It says right in the beginning, Shubha phalaihi, Ashubha phalaihi. Shubha Shubha phalaihi. Because karma doesn't sit quietly. Karma gives result of karma. And because of the result of karma, what are the results of karma? Papa, Ashubha and Shubha. What is Shubha? Punya. So Papa Punya is created, and Papa Punya comes each time you bind yourself to action. You think you are doing the action, but the action is doing you in. And that is what happens. Action is doing you in. So you think you are performing actions, but the action is performing a number on you. And what does it say? That it says that basically the more you act, the more you are in the cycle of karma. Karma, karma phala cycle is never ending. Why? Because of the yogakshemas. Because of thinking of oneself as karta, this kartritva buddhi, this I am an agent and the author of action, I am manufacturing my own yoga and kshema, this delusion. Because you're not manufacturing, you're not producing anything except, you're not creating anything except confusion. But in the mind of the jiva, I am doing everything. This feeling is there, and as long as that feeling is there and action is done, the action will produce results, twofold results based on the type of action. Good karma, bad karma, both of them are there, and good karma results in punya, bad karma results in papa. Dharma, adharma. And then when you follow dharma, you get punya. When you don't follow, when you flout dharma, what happens? Papa comes. And so for this reason, you please offer everything. Otherwise what will happen? Shubha Shubha phalaihi karma bandhaihi. You will be bound by this. But if you offer everything to me, you take yourself out of the equation as karta bhokta. So whatever you offer it to me, and then basically this is just karma yoga. You offer it to me, and then whatever comes, the result of action, you take it as what? Prasada. You take the results of action as prasada, and whatever you offer it to me, and then after that what will happen? You will be free of karma. Why? Because you have already said Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Ishvara is doing the karma, I am not the author. So who will get the karma phala? Ishvara will get. But Ishvara won't get the karma phala. Ishvara is free of karma. And so you won't get the karma phala. You will not be bound by your actions or the results thereof. It's a wonderful protection against disappointment, against future karma, against all kinds of things. It's a great protection. And then therefore he says that karma bandhanaihi mokshyase. You will have freedom from karma here, from the bondage of karma. And then sannyasa yoga yuktatma. Yoga yuktatma means endowed with karma yoga. Endowed with karma yoga and sannyasa. Not sannyasa here as a lifestyle. Sannyasa means karma phalatyagaha. Sannyasa iti uchyate. The relinquishing of the results of action. Results of action belong to you, Bhagavan. I don't want the results of action. What I want is growth. And what is the growth? Grow me out of the addiction for the results of action. Help me emotionally grow to want moksha, to qualify for moksha, so that when it is taught once, I immediately get it. Help me grow. Help the raga dveshas to calm down. That is all I want. So that is called sannyasa yoga yuktatma. Yoga yuktatma means the person endowed with karma yoga, and then sannyasa yoga yuktatma means the person who is a karma yogi also has no penchant for the results of action. The one who has successfully detached himself or herself from wanting the specific results of action. Then mokshase. Mokshase doesn't mean you will get moksha straight away. Karma bandhanaihi mokshase. You will be free of the bondage of karma, and then with the help of this vidya, with the help of karma yoga, you will qualify for this Brahma vidya. With the help of this Brahma vidya, what will you get? Moksha from the notion that you are finite. More we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Harihi Om.